I'm not able to do today. I know I wasn't as a kid. As a matter of fact, my brother and I played this at some point, mostly with the solutions in hand. We actually had to print them out because multitasking wasn't a thing back then. So we printed out the solution and played through it with it, which was still a hoot and a half. So we're gonna have two hoots because we're not gonna do the solution thing. We're gonna do this by the brain here. So buckle up, everybody. Let's dive right in. What? Yes, new game. I don't want any puzzle randomization. That's a new feature in the game. I don't know what that does.
I realized the moment I fell into the fissure that the book would not be destroyed as I had planned. It continued falling into that starry expanse of which I had only a fleeting glimpse. I've tried to speculate where it might have landed, but I must admit that such conjecture is futile. Still, the questions about whose hands might one day hold my Myst book are unsettling to me. I know my apprehensions might never be allayed, and so I close, realizing that perhaps the ending has not yet been written.
Always love that. It still gives me the chills. I know that back in the day, the game really scared the crap out of me, and I'm pretty sure it still does. Look at this awesomeness here. This is apparently based on the Unreal Engine. So it's gonna be pretty awesome here. I did opt in for the hand cursor here. A nice throwback to the olden days. So cool. I just had to let that music play because it's just the best. Oh, it repeats. I just realized that I can zoom in with the scroll wheel here. So that's also a new feature. Here we are on Myst Island. Ooh. Look at this. Wow. Press escape button on your keyboard. It's a key, actually. It's called a keyboard, so it's got to be a key. Anyway, that's just a minor quibble here. I do miss the cursor. Oh, there it is. Okay. Look at the detail of the rocks here and this stuff. Wow. Okay, this looks really nice. I hope my Mac can actually play this. So far, it's looking good. I gotta turn up the volume here. I hope it's all right for everybody. Give me a second. As I tab out of the game, the music sadly, or the sound sadly just pauses. So I just had to up the volume here a little bit so you can hear the ambient stuff. Alright, like I said, I don't remember too much about the game. I know that we can go in here. That's about it. My brother and I played this in total darkness. It's day out now, so it's not as scary, but... Man, this is so cool. It might be a little doubt now. Did a little bit of testing. Mainly for the cutscene that was in the beginning there. Seems a little loud. I'm just gonna lower this a little bit to -10. Should be okay, -11. So it doesn't blow out everybody's speakers, it's enough when my voice does it. Please do let me know if the sound is awkward or something. What is this here? Weird little contraption. Okay. Dimensional imager. Push, interact, exit. Okay. Topographical extrusion test, 40. Marker switch diagram, 47. Water turbulent pool, 67. Okay. This is the kind of game, well, in this version of the game, you can press X and take a photograph. Back in the day, you had to have a notebook or something. What does this do? Ooh, oh, okay. Crap, anybody remember the numbers? There it is, 40, 47, and 67. Okay. It is 67. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's just this thing. Okay, I understand. I don't know what this does. It's a wave simulation of some sort. So let's try 40 then. Let's just go from the top. What is this? Is this supposed to be Myst Island? I don't know. Do we see something in there? No, that's just... Whoa, that's kind of weird. It's just the background twisting and turning in the wireframe. So the last thing is 47. Uh-huh. Okay, well, those things I do remember from back in the day. There was some sort of puzzle with them. But what's not a puzzle on Myst Island, right? Okay, this is nice, but doesn't tell me too much. I'm running this on max settings, by the way. Everything's epic. Did turn off the motion blur, because I know that some people don't like it. Didn't bother me too much, but I can go either way, so I don't care. We're supposed to raise this ship at some point. I don't know how. Are we supposed to throw all those switches? Let's just do it. Okay. You know what? Give me a second here, folks, as I go back into the options. And I'm going to raise all this back up. Maybe the footsteps can stay down there. I just want to make sure we hear everything. What's up here? Right, is that to the mechanical age? I do love the free roam thing. If you played this game when it first was released in, I don't know, 1990 something, it was a point and click game. You went from frame to frame, basically. Okay, so that did nothing. I seem to recall that maybe we need to get the power going or something. Man, this is beautiful. Ooh, I can run too with the shift key, that's nice. We have grass. Okay. This is gonna bring my computer to the knees. To its knees. The grass. Right. Oh. I did remember that there was a a ladder here of some sort. I just thought it was on the ground here. Maybe in this new version it's on this rock. Catherine, I've left for you a message of utmost importance in our fore-chamber beside the dock. Enter the number of marker switches on this island into the imager to retrieve the message. Yours, Atris. Marker switches are those things, right? We learned that from that imager thing. So how many do we have so far? 1, 2, 3. Is this a shortcut? No. Okay, it's not the kind of game you can really die in, I don't think. Ah, right, the dentist's room. No, it's a flux capacitor. Okay. Ah, the library. Look at this. Isn't this nice? That's so cool. Press X to take a picture. You can access your photos through the menu. Yes. Oh, right. I remember this. I think this might give power to those things. Why are only these marked? I know there are more. There's a rocket somewhere, for instance. Maybe this only displays the ones we know about? I'm not going to touch anything yet. Let's just explore this for a little bit. Ooh. Okay. There was a setting to use the old-timey videos in books, so that's what I opted for. Because I did see, and they also did that with the Ribbon remake last year, this year, I don't know. They did replace the actual actors with 3D models, and I hate it. That's what was so cool about the game back in the day, that it was so real life looking, right? I mean, by today's standards, it's not, but way back in the day, this was awesome. And the videos were all really acted by real people, so I opted for those things again, because I do want that. Oh. Okay. Aha, so this closes and this opens, right? So, if we... You can't have both at the same time, I see. Well, this is pretty burnt. I've called this age Channelwood, and it is a very different world. Though it is exactly how I imagined it, it is still amazing to see it with my own eyes. Water covers this age as far as I can see, except for a small rocky island. Elsewhere, there are only trees which grow directly out of the water. A myriad of thin wooden passageways are built just above the water and disappear into the forest. I assume they were built some time ago, for they appear aged. I am eager to discover more about this land and its people, but I have arrived here late and I must rest. I was awakened this morning by strange noises coming from a pathway adjacent to the one on which I had slept. I saw a group of monkey-like people heading in my direction. They had not seen me yet. I did not feel threatened by their presence. Their response to me was one that I would have never expected. After staring at me for a short time, they fell to their knees and began what appeared to be some sort of ceremonial worship. I tried to speak to them, but they did not understand my language. Instead, they indicated through enthusiastic hand motions that I was to follow them. As we walked, I began to notice that the waters below us were changing colors. Slowly, subtly, they would change from deep blue to muddy orange, then from muddy orange to beautifully clear. I was so intrigued by the water, I hardly noticed that we had arrived at a ladder. Climbing it led us to their village, which is about 10 meters above the water and can only be reached by rope ladders that stretch from the lower paths to the village level approximately halfway up the grand trees. It is very interesting watching these people carry out their daily tasks. Even after watching them for hours, I did not understand exactly what they were doing. At sunset, they motioned for me to follow them. I followed the creatures to the doorway of an enormous hut. Strangely, once inside, I found that the hut appeared even larger than it had from the outside. The walls were garnished with bright metals, and in the center of the hut sat the leader of these people. At least he appeared to be their leader, for he sat a meter off the floor in a thick throne. Guards surrounded the strong creature, who was dressed in many exotic, colorful fabrics. Next to the leader sat a very old human, at least to some extent he appears human. His hair, which was only on his face and head, was completely grey, almost white, and hung very long around his frail body. His thin head hung limply by an almost grotesque neck. His thin head hung limply by an almost grotesque neck that could not hold his head up to look at me. But what a surprise! This creature could speak my language. Shortly thereafter, I was given a bed with some hand motions that looked to be telling me to go to sleep. I look forward to learning more. Okay, I did not expect there would be this much reading in this book, but I'm just going to continue on. I don't think I ever read this as a kid. I didn't have the patience nor the interest. All I wanted was see some pretty 3D rendered pictures, and that's what I got out of the game. And a challenge for the brain teasers. But I also want to learn more about this entire thing, because I never really grasped the entire concept of it, so let's just continue on. As I suspected, the ancient creature is a human, but he is old beyond his own reckoning and seems almost insane. However, the tree dwellers almost revere him as a god. They are treating me now in the same fashion, which makes me feel very uncomfortable. It is almost impossible to understand this old man. His voice is feeble but wild. He has adopted much of the language of the tree dwellers. He himself told me he had not spoken our own tongue in ages. He attempted to explain to me the history of this place. The following is my best translation of what he has told me. Many years ago, the humans and tree dwellers lived together in this place, which was then a vast island. They interacted very little. The humans dwelt on the ground, and the tree dwellers lived high above the humans. Occasionally, the island was disturbed by mysterious rumblings which happened randomly. Some sort of tectonic or volcanic action, I suspect. The sometimes slight, sometimes heavy tremors would only last a short time. Then they would stop, allowing everything to return to normal. One day things changed. The rumbling began and grew quickly to unprecedented levels. Soon it became apparent that the entire island was sinking slowly into the ocean around them. Many of the humans died that day, but not before sacrificing themselves in order to stop the sinking of the island. The humans who lived through this catastrophe moved into the trees, where they gradually died out, maybe because they were unequipped for such an environment, but I'm not sure. This is the story the old man communicated to me, although many details are very unclear in my mind. I'm especially confused as to how the humans saved the island from completely sinking. In fact, I doubt the accuracy of that part of the story. The island must have stopped on its own. Yet, the old man believes in the truth of the story as if he had been there. And the tree dwellers worship him, and apparently all humans, as if they were heroes or gods. I like this little touch here where he miswrote, or she, this person. The old man ended our conversation today with an event which I will never forget. He began gripping my hands tightly, murmuring something about rest and sleep. He then said, "We had expected you to come sooner." These actions filled me with a sort of immediate dread. With much effort, he stood to his feet. I tried to help, but he pushed me away with more force than I imagined his frail body contained. The tree dwellers quietly surrounded him with very solemn faces. They then kneeled before him. He walked to each and placed his hand on their heads. All the while, he murmured words which I didn't understand. Finally, he turned to me and smiled. Then he closed his eyes and walked out the door and off of the narrow path high in the trees. The tree dwellers were silent. They began a procession down the nearest rope ladder. As I was descending, I saw several of them picked up the body. He had fallen onto a lower level of walkway and carried away. He was laying down at the dead end of a short pier-like structure. With the use of some potion, one of the tree creatures lit the pier on fire, and I watched as the flames engulfed him. As this strange funeral proceeded, the waters around the pier changed to dull green. This morning I awoke, finding it hard to even believe the previous evening's events. The water is a dull green for as far as I can see now. For some reason the water no longer shifts color. As I wander throughout the pathways, the creatures watch me, curious to see what I will do next. They are constantly offering me strange objects of affection. I even found food outside the doorway to the room in which I had slept. This is a unique race of beings. Race of beings. I hope to learn their language soon so that I may learn more from them. Okay, so now the pen color changes for some reason. Is this a conversation between two people, or did multiple people write in this? I don't know. I have lived on this world for 3 months off and on, and the tree dwellers have shown great hospitality. I'm even beginning to learn bits of their language. I've decided to return home for an extended stay with my loving wife and my sons, and hopefully return with them. However, I'm sure Catherine, there's that name again, will once again refuse. I think this age would be a wonderful experience for them all, and I at least look forward to how Sirius and Aknar will react to its curious inhabitants. Catherine is staying behind, as expected. My sons have returned with me, and they enjoy this age very much. They get along very well with the tree dwellers and are picking up their language surprisingly fast. I have no doubt that it will not be too long until they can speak with the tree dwellers much better than myself. I'm leaving tomorrow to check on Osmoyan age. Sirius has suggested that I allow him and his brother to stay. Though the idea unsettles me, I know the boys are growing up rapidly. The hospitality of these creatures is such that I could think of no better place to leave them alone for a short while, so I will consent to their requests. I warned the boys not to take advantage of the respect the tree dwellers have for their ideas. They seem to understand my warning, and I have faith they will follow it. Much to my dismay, upon arriving in Everdunes, I learned that Prawn and her people are continuing to be menaced by the Coctic. I fear for their survival and plan on returning to her shortly after checking on Sirius and Aknar here. See Everdune's journal for more information. Oh yes, we will. After watching Sirius and Aknar, I see they are handling things very well, and I think I can put to rest any fears about leaving them in Channelwood again. And for a little longer time. It's weird that the blue hue here, or purple hue, changes to a brown pen mid-sentence. Anyway, the tree dwellers seem slightly distressed that I'm leaving, but are happy that Sirius and Aknar are staying behind again. I've been gone for over 3 days and have been to many different places. I had to tell Sirius and Aknar about Prawn's death today. Prawn? I'm gonna stick with Prawn. And they were visibly shaken, although they only remembered her from their childhood. Catherine has suggested that it would be wise for Sirius and Aknar to leave Channelwood for a while, and I have to agree. They will be returning with me when I leave again. I've told my sons that they will be returning with me in 2 days. They spent the entire night telling me of an adventure they experienced in my absence, and it was rather remarkable. It seems they constructed a boat with the creatures and traveled some ways out into the surrounding waters. I enjoy hearing them talk excitedly of their adventures, and I am reminded of my own adventures as a child. I finally understand why the tree dwellers have been giving me their many inks and insisting I write with them. Looking through some of my past entries, I see now that the inks have changed from the black I thought they were to various different colors. Interesting. I have shown some of the creatures my journal, and they laughed and howled. I didn't know they had such a sense of humor. Even now, as I look through this very colorful journal, I cannot help but laugh myself. So it was just a prank, I guess. We will be returning tomorrow, so my sons are with the creatures for the last night here. They have told me they would like to come to Channelwood again, and also asked if they can visit some other ages alone. Though I will have to think over their request, I believe they have proven to me that they are trustworthy and responsible. Catherine will also have to help me decide whether they are ready for travel alone. For now, I must give my farewells to the creatures, for I do not know how long it will be until I visit this age again. Future Bridge. Can I not zoom in here? That's a shame. Should I be taking pictures of this? I don't know. Okay. That's all about Channelwood. Stone ship. The stone ship. Then we have the Celentic Age of Myst. Ooh, and I can't read this. I can't zoom in here. That's a shame. That's a real bummer. Okay, let's read about the Stone Age. Emmett was the first to live on the rocks. He named them the rocks because that's what they are. A group of sharp rocks clustered together in the middle of a large sea. This was where Emmett lived. He enjoyed his life. Emmett would occasionally swim to nearby rocks as it was never too far of a distance. One day another person appeared on the rocks for no apparent reason to Emmett. Emmett named this new person Branch. Emmett and Branch quickly became friends, swimming and hunting for fish together often. Emmett showed Branch the simple cave in which he lived on the largest rock. Soon, Branch discovered a place where he decided to live, also on the same large rock. The sun always shone brightly in their world, and the water was always dazzlingly clear, allowing them to see almost to the deep ocean floor which surrounded them. Though the sun always shone, it was never too hot for the boys. A light breeze always came from the north and cooled the area down. One day, while Branch was swimming and having fun in the water, he noticed another boy swimming. Branch brought the new boy to Emmett to find out what to call the new boy. Emmett said the boy should be called Will. Will was soon part of the group, and all three of the boys swam and enjoyed their perfect world. This is going to take an ugly turn here real soon. At least, that is the story I was told when I arrived on the island. Emmett, Branch, and Will were surprised to see me at first, but even before the night ended, we were all becoming good friends. Today, the second day on this newly created age, a strange thing happened. It wasn't strange to me, but the three boys did not understand what was happening. While I was relaxing under a large tree on one of the smaller rock islands, it began to rain. It was a nice rain that lasted for about an hour in the morning. I explained to the boys that the rain was not harmful, yet they obviously still feared it. Before going to sleep tonight, I told the boys I would leave the following day. Told them that while I was gone, I would make a surprising change in their world. They didn't understand, not that I expected them to. I still do not fully understand what happened today. I was experimenting with the art, testing the limits of the rules as dictated to me by Father. I attempted to create a boat by writing it into the world. I thought everything was planned correctly, yet somehow the boat had become gripped by the rock and broken in half. Although this test did not turn out as I had hoped, and now I have answers to a few of the questions my father never answered. So this Father, is this the father of Sirius and Eknar, which would mean that this book was written by one of those? Or is it Sirius and Eknar's father's father? Right? Maybe, I don't know the name. That person wrote it. I guess we'll find out. As for the boat, I can see the boys enjoy it anyway, and with that I'm pleased. They have played on it all day. Even though the boat cannot move, I've enjoyed studying from it. It's a much sturdier platform than the jagged rocks. In the course of my observations, I have learned some very interesting things regarding the solar system of this age. Submersible lamp. Okay. The nights are absolutely beautiful here. I have made note of and named a number of constellations that pass above me. Also during the night, I catch glimmers of light from the horizon, which I have not yet been able to discover if it is created by some natural phenomenon or by additional people on far-off islands or rocks. I should very much like to discover which. I rather suspect it is additional people, which would explain the appearance of Branch and Will. So, as I understand it, this person who writes this wrote this age, or this land here, this world, which is basically the premise of Myst. But what I don't understand, and I guess these people don't either, is how it works exactly, because if this person here wrote this age, how come he doesn't know that there are people living beyond the horizon? Right? So, how does this work? Maybe they just give basic instructions, a basic maybe setting, and the world fills itself based on some rules? I don't know. The rain today was slightly heavier than usual. Just when the boys were getting used to the light rains, a small storm arrived. They were frightened of the heavier rain, not to mention the thunder and lightning. If rain has never fallen here until recently, as the boys tell me, I would like to discover why it is falling now. Regardless, I've decided to return home for a short while. I've also been thinking of some plans for a lighthouse that I hope to construct soon. I think that perhaps by shining a bright light toward the horizon, it might prove my suspicions regarding additional inhabitants. They would be curious about the light and travel to discover its source, if they have the means. I returned with many tools that I will need for construction of the lighthouse. I've decided that once the lighthouse is completed, I will leave for some time and let the world's own imagination have control. Okay, so that answers some questions. We have worked 3 weeks on the lighthouse now and are making great progress. The rock that we are building on seems to not be as secure as I would like. I've had to alter my plans slightly, but those alterations pose no real problem. There's a light, right there. So, are they building this in the world, or are they building this by writing in that age book? It's kind of sounds like they're building it manually. The boys are quite strong and have been helping me immensely. I estimate construction will be done within 2 days. The lighthouse is finished and we're all proud of our creation. The boys are amazed at the structure wrought from rock with their own hands. That evening we powered up the generator, much the boys dread at first, and shined a great light to the horizon for many hours. I stayed the night in the top of the lighthouse, and in the morning awoke to observe the sunrise without my being coated with the chilly blanket of ocean dew I had become accustomed to. It was Will who first saw the girl. She was swimming not far from the boat, where Will was getting ready to hunt for fish. Then Will noticed a man not far away from the girl. Emmett was very pleased to meet the additional neighbors. I feel pleased to leave this age. I have set in motion events that have nothing to do with writing or the art, that will have a more profound impact on this world than I could have ever written. I think Stone Ship Age, Bird's Eye View. Maybe I should photograph these. I think of this age as a gift to myself that I will wrap up and open someday in the future, only to discover that it has changed so much that indeed it is a surprise. Besides, I have yet another new age that awaits me. It seems I'm going to need some way to travel underwater in this new age, and so much planning is in order. It has been 10 years since I left this age, which I have since called the Stone Ship Age. Upon returning, I cannot believe the changes that have taken place. The original 3 boys have grown into adults, and there are many new faces that I do not recognize. Branch told me that it has not rained for 7 years and the cool breezes are back again. They're all very content and have been serving me with new foods and showing me new materials they have discovered. It even seems they have found gold somewhere. I see it in many forms around the island. My lighthouse has been kept in perfect condition and it looks as if they have tried their very best to keep it so. Yet I have noted that the entire rock it was built on has sunk approximately 40 or 50 centimeters. After a wonderful visit with my old friends, I wonder aloud with them what things will be like here in another 10 years. Constellations. There's an anchor here. Okay, I definitely should photograph this. I might as well take a photo of this. You never know when I don't think we need a painting of the ship here, the drawing here. But this might be good. Okay. More constellations. I kind of remember my brother and I drawing these on paper because was it screen shooting possible on a Macintosh Performer 5320 on macOS 8 or 9? I don't know. But I don't think that occurred to us. And even so, we couldn't have opened it while playing the game. Did I photograph this? I think I did. Okay, that's this. I will quickly go back into this and just photograph what kind of images there were in there. Okay, it's just the last page, basically. Cool. Now on to the Selentica age of Myst. Excuse me. It has been a while since I have heard only silence, and I enjoy it greatly, I think. For some reason I do not feel altogether welcome in this new world in which I have arrived. But how could I be unwelcome in an age with no inhabitants? It is, of course, only in my head. This world is very beautiful, but I think I have yet to ever write in a journal that an age I have linked to is horrid or disgusting. From the grassy hill where I am standing, I can see green fields below, along with a few scattered forests. A rather large lake looms some distance from where I am standing, yet the water's blue can be seen plainly from here. The air is fresh and the sky is sparkled with white clouds. It is absolutely breathtaking, and yet that strange feeling again. Perhaps it is a hot breeze that continues to blow from the north. Hotter than I would have imagined, it almost singes my skin, and I feel quite uncomfortable when it comes. I will try to ignore it. Night has almost arrived, and the sunset is spectacular. Oranges and reds have settled above the western horizon. Though night has come, the horizon still glows red long past the sunset. Dark reds flow from the horizon and blend into the black sky. It's a frickin' Bob Ross. Again the feeling, and I am beginning to believe it is not all in my head. I must sleep now. I will need my strength to explore more tomorrow. I have had to return home due to unpredictable natural occurrence more frightening than I have ever experienced. I was awakened by terrible shakings in the ground and explosions on all sides of me. Gigantic balls of fire were falling from the sky, and I immediately left in fear of my life. I must remember to bring a Myst linking book with me when I return, in case the one left there has been destroyed or damaged. Right, or you'd be stuck there. I've returned to a different world than the one I left only 3 months ago. It has been transformed into a barren, desert land, with only gigantic craters scattered across the land to provide variety. Strangely enough, the small grassy hill where I spent my first night remains exactly the way I found it. Apparently the falling meteors did not hit this area, leaving an oasis in the midst of this horrible desolation. The hot wind, I remember, has turned into a rather pleasant breeze, which is at least one improvement. I fear it is the only improvement. The magnificent lake I saw on my first visit is now completely dried up. However, another lake now exists, and appears to be quite a bit larger. I assume one of the falling meteors created this lake due to its circular shape and the jutting rock that grows out of the center of the lake. The rest of this world seems like desert, although I will verify that statement with closer inspection. It sounds like anytime anybody who visits one of these ages, something unusual happens, let's call it that. Here meteors fall, in the other age it suddenly rains. Though this world has little visual excitement to offer, it offers much to the ears. Sounds constantly flow through my ears, and I have found where a few of them originate. It seems, as Catherine says, I do find beauty in everything. Last night I was awakened by horrible hissing. I was sweating, and the heat was so intense that I immediately dipped my head in a nearby stream to cool it down. The hot breezes had returned, along with a low roar from the ground. I walked a short distance to observe some red flames shooting up from the earth. Suddenly the ground began to crack and a huge chasm opened. The chasm continued to grow until it was far too wide to cross. Then the tumult subsided, leaving only a dull roar. I have decided, however, I can use the chasm to my advantage. Perhaps the heat from the chasm can be harnessed. Whoops. Even as the chasm has ripped into the surface of this world, it has opened up a whole new world to explore. A whole new world. Although uncomfortably hot, I found it possible to reach a cave in the chasm that had been created, and have now explored... Oh, is that a comma? Usually sentences don't begin with an end, but okay. And have now explored deep into the crust of this planet. I have found a vast underground cave system that will take many years to map and explore. I will also look for a safer way to reach the underground than through the chasm wall. This age seems to change on its own, so I feel I should leave again and see if things are different when I return. It is also important that I check in on Cirrus and Aknor and make sure everything is going along well. When I return, I also hope to bring back some tools I will need for my plans to explore the underground. The abundance of raw materials here is beginning to amaze me. I have returned with some of the complex tools I knew I would be needing. I assumed I would have to return for more basic materials. However, it seems as though I will be able to find everything I need here. Of course, iron is abundant, but I've also found titanium occurring naturally. I'm all the more excited to begin work. Everything is set, and I look forward to tomorrow. My raw materials are all here. I think I will be able to have most of my additions to this age complete within 1 year. I so love working with my hands, whether writing or building. I began today. You can faintly see that. I began today on the, and then it just fades out. Okay, we certainly are going to take a picture of this. Well, and I've decided to. 3 meters is not enough support for the beams, although... Why is this all faded? Amazingly strong. This looks familiar. Prized inventions. Are we ever able to read this at some point? Could never have imagined to come together quite. I doubt we. That's bad. Could possibly work with 14 instead of 8. Completely fatigued. I am so happy to have completed something. Tomorrow. I'm leaving today in order to bring back Cirrus and Akinar. I've left them alone in Channelwood. I believe they will enjoy all there is to see here. The age seems to have stabilized. I believe the meteors set off a period of volcanic activity by piercing into the shallow crust, but the tremors have become few. I have just noticed that a large amount of this journal has curiously vanished from the very pages on which I wrote over the last 18 months. Fortunately, I've copied many of my construction notes in another journal. I do not understand the many mysteries of this world yet, but I trust I will discover logical answers to my questions. I have a feeling that many of my questions can be answered in another age to which I hope to travel soon. But for now I must simply accept this world's mysteries and take pride in my accomplishments. So, if these people write different ages in the books, are they linked for some reason? It appears they appear to be, because he hopes to find answers to his questions originated in this age in another age. That doesn't make sense to me, but okay. This we're gonna need. Ooh, nice drawings here. That's all he wrote, quite literally. There's a book here. Okay, nah, I didn't want to open this just yet. I want to read this. Whatever this says, I can't read that. Mechanical age, I think. Before arriving in this age, I was determined that it would be a journey to a world very different from my previous adventures, and it was. The sky is dark and grey and incessantly displays flashes of lightning in the distance. I met a very old man with a long beard and hair that hangs to his waist. He is very feeble and has trouble even moving. Is this the same guy as in the tree-dwelling age? Channelwood? This man has obviously been through very many things in this strange world, and I have learned many things from him. He has told me an interesting story of this world's history. Years ago, he told me, there was a beautiful city that rose up out of the water. It housed many people inside its walls, and the people had everything they wished for. The city was surrounded by 3 high hills, which rose higher than the city. On the east hill of the city rested a large lookout post. The people of the city had constructed the post expecting visitors to arrive from the east. The people had no means of traveling on the water, which forced them to merely wait for friend or foe. As time passed, friendly visitors brought rumors of an enemy that existed beyond the horizon. The people grew fearful, yet nothing happened. One day, the usually sunny sky became dark as night, and black ships appeared on the horizon. The lookout posts' attempts at peace were turned away, and the sentries there were easily overwhelmed. The ships continued to wreak havoc on the city, apparently destroying everyone and everything. After the foundations of the city were destroyed, the city sunk deep into the ocean, and only the lookout post remained. The black ships sailed away. The man continued to say that 8 people had hidden and managed to survive through the attack. In the 9 years since the attack, 2 of the survivors had died. He also said that it was rumored that 10 years from the attack, the enemy would return to finish the destruction they had started so long ago. I have decided, since hearing that man's stories, it would be admirable to save this civilization and stop this enemy's plans of destruction. I'm excited about the adventure that awaits me, and an idea has sparked in my mind to provide the needed defense for these people. I met the remaining survivors today, and I've begun work on a plan for protection. After a short absence, I have returned to this age with my 2 sons. They have, as of yet, traveled rarely with me, and they are understandably excited to be here. They have grown considerably since Everdunes, and it is already obvious to me that they will be a great help this time, instead of the nuisance they have been in the past. That's harsh. They're kids, right? All 3 of us, along with 4 of the healthier survivors, began construction today. We are building upon the old city's ruins, which will provide a perfect foundation for a fortress. Everdunes. I don't think we read about Everdunes. We only heard about it. My sons have been spending much of their spare time on the South Island, where most of my materials are stored. I'm very pleased with their intelligence, and their creativity is refreshing to see, as they work on some small projects of their own. It has been over 4 months now, and construction is going well. My sons love the world. My sons love the world except for its grey sky. They detest the grey sky and tell me many times they wish the sky here were like the blue sky in Myst. The old man I first talked to tells me that the enemy is due in 4 months. I feel we will be ready when the time comes. The man reminds me of Emmett in many ways, and I often wonder how Emmett and his people are doing. It has been 6 months of work, and we have finally finished the fortress. It rests between the 3 hills, which are now only islands due to a rising water level that the people experienced after the attack. Sorry, I need to ban somebody from chat here real quick. That keeps happening. Inside the fortress, I've designed a most intriguing device. It makes use of a technology called holography. Holography. I began experimenting with on my visits to Aspermere. It will be working in a couple of days after I compensate for some small miscalculations. This holographic device will enable the survivors to learn to use the fortress. Is that the same thing we have in the 4 chamber? So I think this answers the question from the other book I had, if the person writing was the father of Cirrus and Aknar, or either Cirrus or Aknar. I think it was the father, because the father was there on Emmett and Will and Branch, right? So, yeah, he was talking about his father, not Cirrus and Aknar's father. Anyway, the enemy's due to come soon, and I trust the fortress will provide sufficient protection for all of us. The black ships have come. Their attack was substantial. Their weapons have been stopped, and it appears they have turned away in defeat. I couldn't help but smile as I watched the boats leave. Insignia of black ship. Last night we had a small celebration, and the old survivors danced their dances of old. My sons didn't understand why the sky had not turned back to its original blue. The old man told them that the storms would never end until the enemy was destroyed. I assured my sons that a blue sky was not worth the risk of death, and they seemed to hear me. I have had a healthy adventure, and have begun work on a new book. Once again, I must leave a familiar age in search of a new universe I have begun. But first, I will have an extended time with Catherine, whom I miss very much. I must also return to the people of the tide. There's so many things here to unpack. Aspermere and the tide. All new things I've never heard before. I believe in my travels I've found a substance that will ease the pain of their bone ailments that they have long endured. I hope to return to mechanical age one day and find the population growing and my fortress still strong. Though the sky may always be black, I'm confident the people here feel a heavier darkness has been lifted from their shoulders. Okay, so that was the mechanical age. What do we have here? This looks like I could read it. Okay, I had a hunch we could open this. Oh crap. Do I need to take pictures of this? How many combinations are there? All of them? I think what I'm doing here, photographing all these things is futile. I'm gonna take pictures nonetheless. Must go faster. Are we almost done here? We've been playing for an hour and haven't played yet. I hope there's 100 combinations. So we're done here in some sort of time. Okay, you know what? Okay, yeah, maybe we get a number and can look that up then.